Rudolf Steiner sees freedom as the principle that can unify us. He made human freedom the foundation of all of his work. But what is freedom, and how can we develop it in ourselves and in others? The answers to these questions are found in Steiner's philosophy of freedom. Freedom is a shared value that is supported by the left and the right. A just and fair society will value freedom for all. One side says a just and fair society will ensure equality, while the other side says a just and fair society will ensure equity. What is the difference? Equality is reached when we all have equal opportunity. Equity is reached when we all have equal outcomes. Equality means everyone is given equal opportunity to cross the starting line at the same time. It is only fair that the one with the most talent and who makes the greatest effort will be rewarded by crossing the finish line first. Equity means some are given an advantage by moving their starting line ahead of others. It is only fair if everyone has an equal outcome by everyone crossing the finish line at the same time. The pleasure of earned achievement is much greater than that of unearned achievement. We put a higher value on pleasure when attained at the cost of great pain than when it simply falls into our lap like a gift from heaven. When our desire has been tempered by pain and suffering, and yet the goal is still achieved, then the pleasure is all the greater. An example of equal outcome is the equal distribution of wealth. There is everything uplifting and positive about the voluntary distribution of wealth, but there is nothing uplifting and positive about the forced distribution of wealth. The equity approach limits individual rights and freedom in order to expand the role of government to enforce equity mandates. The equality approach protects individual rights and freedom by limiting the role of government. The difference between equality and equity is the difference between the freedom to choose for ourselves or the tyranny of elites who decide what is equitable and have the power to make choices for the rest of us. The way to peace is to ensure everyone's freedom. At the time of Steiner, 100 years ago, women were limited to professions suited to what was considered their female nature. The philosophy of freedom addressed this issue by supporting equal opportunity, the right of an individual to decide for themselves what field of work to pursue. But it also supports the merit system, that you must be qualified and prove you can do the job on your own without special treatment. It says a person must have it in them to attain the position on their own. It supports equal opportunity based on a system of merit. If it is true that women are suited only to the occupations that they are now in, then they are unlikely to have it in them to attain any other on their own. But they must be allowed to decide for themselves what is and what is not appropriate to their nature. The philosophy of freedom places the individual at the center of social life as the source of ethical decision-making. The social order is to act favorably on the individual. The human individual is the source of all morality and the center of all life. State and society exist only because they have necessarily grown out of the life of individuals. The individual would become stunted with prolonged isolation outside human society. This is why the social order is formed, so that it can react back favorably on the individual. A successful social order will respect the right of an individual to make their own ethical decisions.